So at this point, Drake's gotta change all his song titles, alright? It's not Know Yourself, it's Know Your Rights. It's not God's Plan, it's Gavel's Plan. In My Feelings? Nah. In My Filings. Energy? No. Perjury. Find Your Love? Nah. Find Your Lawyer. It's not fair trade, it's fair trial. It's no longer first-person shooter, it's first-person sewer. He might have started from the bottom, but he ended in the courtroom. He might have been going sicko mode, but now he's going suing mode. He used to want this moment for life, but now he wants a moment for litigation. And I could keep going, but I don't got to, because my fellow YouTube reactors, the commentating community, the streamers, they have been going after Drizzy Drake relentlessly ever since he dropped that bombshell of a lawsuit against UMG for quote-unquote defaming his name after publishing and promoting Kendrick's diss song Not Like Us. Funny enough, even though he was fighting against diss tracks in this lawsuit, it's only resulted in him getting dissed even harder. But while 2024 was the year of rappers dissing Drake, everyone from Rick Ross, A$AP Rocky, JPEG Mafia, The Weeknd, Childish Gambino, and of course Kendrick Lamar, 2025 is the year of reactors, streamers, and content creators demolishing Drake in the booth. If you guys have been keeping up at this point, in Drake's lawsuit against UMG, he uses reaction channels and their reaction videos to Not Like Us to basically highlight the fact that UMG was using unethical practices to promote and expand the song's reach. Basically, UMG whitelisted the song for creators, which means reaction channels were able to make money off their videos reacting to Not Like Us, and it didn't get copyrighted for the first few days of its release. Now, this was mutually beneficial. The reaction channels got to profit off the moment like never before. Plus, that was one of the biggest moments of 2024. So to be able to react to that and monetize your reaction to the biggest moment of the year, it was a legendary way to help out creators. It also helped Kendrick because the more people that reacted to the song, the more the song spread. And because reactors were able to keep all of their profits from their reactions, they were more incentivized to react to the song. Now, where Drake messed up is, well, he messed up in a couple ways. Firstly, obviously by including this in his lawsuit, attacking UMG for removing the copyright of Not Like Us so reaction channels can react to it, he's essentially making sure that this never happens again. So don't for 1 second think that he's actually trying to help creatives, help artists. He's doing this all for himself. This was a legendary move that Kendrick's team put together where they allowed reactors to profit off their content like never before. Drake mentioning this as being an illegal practice in his lawsuit is basically ensuring that it'll never happen again. But where Drake also messed up is the fact that he's essentially trying to imply that UMG whitelisted Kendrick's Not Like Us song specifically so that creators could react positively to it, not just react to it in general. To put it in simple terms, basically, Drake is saying that the record label told reactors, hey, if you want to react to Not Like Us, as long as you do it positively, we won't copyright your video. You can actually profit from the views that it gets, but you have to react positively to it. You can't hate on the song. Now, the reaction community was up in smokes that Drake included this in his lawsuit because think about it like this, to put it into perspective. One of the reactors that he mentioned in the lawsuit was Cenat. Cenat's Not Like Us reaction video garnered over 10 million views at the date that I'm creating this video. YouTube pays on average anywhere from $5 to $7 per 1,000 views for a video of that length. The video is about 14 minutes. So at 10 million views, and YouTube's paying you $5 to $7 per 1,000 views, Cenat likely made anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 just from that one reaction video alone of Not Like Us. And that's because Kendrick and his record label removed the copyright. They whitelisted the song, allowing the creator to actually profit from their video. Imagine if all musicians and record labels did this. It would be great for them because their songs would spread much faster. Reactors would be incentivized to actually react to the song. And it would be great for reactors and content creators because finally we wouldn't have to worry that a video that we put tons of time into creating, the profits from it won't go into the hands of a record label. It would be a really positive step in the right direction, and Drake is really stepping on that opportunity by including all these reaction channels in his lawsuit. So naturally, a lot of Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and reactors have not only made reaction videos to Drake's lawsuit and expressed much dismay of it, but they've also gotten the booth and released actual diss tracks against Drake. And some of them are pretty good, especially the rapper slash content creator Knox Hill. And just before we jump into his diss song against Drake, where he's actually also dissing DJ Akademiks, Knox Hill wasn't actually mentioned within Drake's lawsuit, but he pointed out a major flaw within it. Remember, like I said, Drake was basically suing UMG for publishing and promoting Not Like Us and using the fact that they whitelisted the song on YouTube as an example of them overly promoting the song in unethical ways. Knox Hill actually showed that all of the diss track reactions he did got copyrighted. However, the only one that didn't, that was whitelisted, was Drake's song, The Heart Part 6. None of Kendrick's songs.
I actually got away with publishing my reaction to The Heart Part 6, and I could fully monetize that. And to this day, it is one of the only reaction videos to this diss track series that I have been able to fully monetize throughout this beef. And no, it's not Kendrick Lamar's diss, it's Drake's diss. The rest of my Kendrick and Drake reactions, claimed. And I specifically remember when that happened, I was like, all right, bet, I finally get to monetize something. It's like Christmas has come early. And that was on Drake's side.
He also debunks the whole theory that UMG was only whitelisting Not Like Us to reactors who reacted positively to the song because the logic didn't work on the opposite end, right? Knox Hill had his Heart Part 6 reaction whitelisted. He was able to react to it and profit from it. However, he didn't react positively to it. So UMG still whitelisted the song and his reaction to it, even though it wasn't a positive one.
At the conclusion of the beef, that didn't make me weigh in Drake's favor. And I'm a huge influencer and a huge reaction channel who did millions of views on this beef. So the whole premise that, hey, if I'm whitelisted, that's going to make me look more favorably on one artist or another, right there is already proven wrong on this channel, because that didn't make me look more favorably on Drake. In fact, the one reaction that I was most critical of, that I pointed out the most holes in of all the Drake disses, was his Heart Part 6.
But aside from destroying Drake's logic within his lawsuit, he also destroyed Drake in the booth as he concocted a DJ Akademiks and Drake diss track titled No Scrubs. The beat samples the song No Scrubs.
I don't want no.
And Knox Hill starts the song off painting a pretty disturbing, vivid picture of Drake and Akademiks.
Drake and act the double act, taking bubble baths. In couples therapy, they cuddling with bubble wrap.
Why they're cuddling with bubble wrap, I'm not really sure. Is that like what they use to wrap up patients in a psych ward, or am I missing something here? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I did a video on Drake and Akademiks recently. I'll leave it in the description, because as much as people want to say they got this lovey-dovey relationship, I think it's really a one-way street. I think Akademiks shows Drake an absurd amount of love, defends him any chance he could. Well, except for this lawsuit. Even Akademiks couldn't defend that.
I think it was a bad idea to use streamers. This lawsuit, I can't see it, bro. I just can't see it. I can't see Drake winning it. I can't see it helping him PR-wise. I'm just confused. And this is why I don't want to speak remotely for Drake with this. Drake got to come and help us understand what this is about, bro. This just doesn't make any damn sense. You trying to cite reasons for the lawsuit by saying they called you a colonizer is like, come on.
But aside from this lawsuit, we saw recently Instagram DM messages were exposed where Drake was talking about LeBron cheating on his wife and comparing that to his whole legal battle with UMG. He told Akademiks those DMs were fake. Akademiks goes out and reports it to the world and says the source is the boy. Then the real source comes out and proves that those messages were real, showing that Drake is feeding Akademiks fake information, which he then goes out to report to the world. And as a journalist, the number one thing you have is your credibility. If Drake is single-handedly destroying that for Akademiks, while Akademiks is also destroying his own credibility by effortlessly defending Drake, no matter how bad the moves Drake is making are, and then in defense of all that glazing, all Drake does is lie to Akademiks to destroy his credibility even further. I think at this point, it's not Drake and Akademiks in a bubble bath together. It's more like DJ Akademiks with a picture of Drake snuggling up in his bubble bath all by himself. But anyways, Knox Hill keeps it going, focusing on the lawsuit.
Hey, anything to cover bag and the numbers back. But why rapping lawsuits? You got a couple racks.
Then Knox emphasizes what Kendrick told us in that Drake is quote unquote not like us, not like the culture, while Knox questions his authenticity, saying that Drake never walked the walk. He's been an actor this whole time, and ironically, Knox Hill uses the actual character Drake acted as on the TV show Degrassi to make this analogy.
Check his wheelchair, Jimmy never walked the walk.
And what's funny is Drake actually threatened legal action, not just within his rap career, but also within his acting career when he was acting as Jimmy Brooks on Degrassi. According to one of the show writers, James Hurst, he claims that Drake didn't want his character to end up in a wheelchair because it would destroy his quote-unquote rap image, and he says that there was a letter from a law firm in Toronto, and it was from Aubrey. It was an odd letter that said, Aubrey Graham will not return to Degrassi Season 6 as Jimmy Brooks unless his injury is healed and he's out of the wheelchair. I said, get Drake down here. He came in and was like, what letter? I don't know about that. And I said, all right, I understand, but how do you feel about the wheelchair? He's like, all my friends in the rap game say I'm soft because I'm in a wheelchair. And I said, well, tell your friends in the rap game that you got hit with a firearm. How much harder can you get? You got hit and you're in a wheelchair. He was like, yeah. Drake didn't end up pursuing legal action in this case, but he's no longer Jimmy Cooks. Now he's Champagne Petition Poppy, Defamation Drizzy, Lobbery Attorney Graham. And if Drake didn't like how his rap friends saw him after he was in a wheelchair on television, then he definitely didn't like how the rap game saw him after he was exposed for having a ghostwriter throughout most of the music that he crafted in 2015. Knox Hill makes mention to this, rapping,
Quentin Miller gave him scripts, he could talk the talk. Know yourself, 10 bands is going wall to wall. That auto-tune gave him pitch, so we can walk to y'all.
And on a side note, I gotta do a video on Quentin Miller, man, because what happened to him for simply being exposed as Drake's ghostwriter is one of the saddest stories in hip-hop. He had tons of talent, I mean, still does, but him being at the root of that ghostwriter problem that Meek Mill exposed still haunts him to this day. I mean, this is his reaction to the 5th anniversary of If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
Yo, so, you know, a lot of people have been congratulating me and sending me messages and shit about the 5-year anniversary of If You're Reading This and shit. And, you know, I look on socials and I see, like, producers and, you know, other people that were involved with the artists, and they get to talk about how proud they are of the shit, you know. And, you know, it's different for me. It's pretty much taboo for me to even talk about it, you know. I pretty much try to act like it don't even exist. The biggest project of my entire career, right? And that's pretty strange, but unfortunately, you know, I don't have the good memories about it that everybody has. You know, my good memories were all murdered, you know what I'm saying? Like the day Meek Mandela, you know, y'all buying that bullshit since he came out of jail, like he's whatever. But the day he, you know, put my name out there, you know, and it just blew up my whole spot. And, you know, that's just everything up for me, bro. And it's so crazy because, man, it not only did it mess that up, but in the confusion of that, you know, me and DJ Drama and Cannon, like that whole side, our ties were severed because of that. Because it was just so much confusion and everybody was trying to find out whose fault was it and this and that. Like, y'all just don't know what them phone calls was like. Y'all just don't know what them text messages was like. Like, y'all don't know what that pressure was like. It was a lot. It was hot. And that's one of the biggest things I regret was fucking up that relationship with them. Because in the end, Drake and Meek, them niggas is best friends now. They watch basketball games and do shows and shit together, you know? So it's just like, what the was that even for? What the was all of that for? You know, like all the stress that it caused, you know? And I know everybody else is able to move on because everybody else's careers was established and shit. My career wasn't established.
Drop a comment if I should do a whole documentary on Quentin Miller, because obviously it still sounds like, unfortunately, there's tons of unresolved issues between him and every party involved in that whole ghostwriting debacle. Drake, Meek Mill, DJ Drama, everyone. But anyways, back to this Knox Hill song. So Knox continues rapping.
But this man, the Willie O'Neal of the rap culture.
And this is an interesting comparison. He's comparing Drake snitching on reaction channels and indirectly making it harder for creative freedom within rap battles in the future. He's comparing that to William O'Neal, who was an American FBI informant in Chicago, where he infiltrated the Black Panther Party and became the catalyst for the police/FBI assassination of Fred Hampton, who was the head of the Illinois Black Panther Party. Very interesting comparison to be made. He continues addressing the members of Drake's crew and the avid OVHO Glazers, because ironically, while Drake is out here taking diss songs to court, everyone around him simultaneously has weird cases surrounding them.
And that got a weird case, why is he around? Rocket can't be good for traffic, why is he in town?
Then we get a slick Millie Bobby Brown double entendre with
So many stranger things, I wonder why you take L's. But you too famous, I just hope the Millies age well.
basically the Stranger Things are the people within Drake's crew, but also Stranger Things in reference to the show that Millie Bobby Brown starred in. And who did she star as? Well, the character L. So Drake is taking L's, he's taking L, like the character played by Millie Bobby Brown. And then the next line, he's talking about the Millies aging well, as in, you know, Millie Bobby Brown not being underage anymore, aging well above the age of consent, which is the only age that Drake should be talking to her at. But also with all the L's that Drake has taken, with all the stains to his reputation, with all the defaming and litigation, Knox Hill is hoping that those Millies in Drake's bank will stay gracefully aging. Now drop a like for the bars I'm creating. I think at this point, with all these streamers dropping Drake diss tracks, I gotta get in the ring here too. But anyways, let's keep it focused on Knox Hill's diss track. So he continues on rapping,
Houston, we got a problem, ask Rihanna, he's obsessive.
and that's another slick double entendre with the Houston we got a problem, because not only is he saying like Drake is a problem, but Drake recently literally became a resident in Houston. He's building a mansion out there. So it's not just like, you know, Drake is a problem in general, but it's like, you know, Houston, we really literally have a problem right now. Drake is infiltrating. Everybody's got to lawyer up. And as far as the whole Rihanna thing, I mean, it's well documented. He's mentioned in several interviews that in a perfect world, they'd be married with kids. But then a year later, he'll go on to diss her on a song saying that, you know, A$AP Rocky can't leave her and they have a bunch of kids together. And over the years, it's really become apparent that, no pun intended, because of the parenting and family life that Drake received in his childhood, he has a very hard time embracing the idea of having a strong, connected family and marriage himself. He prides himself on living the quote-unquote rapper life, partying all the time. He threatens to expose and destroy other figures' marriage and family life, like LeBron cheating on his wife, or Kendrick and his fiance going through their issues that he addressed on Family Matters. I mean, the song is literally called Family Matters, and he also addresses, obviously, A$AP Rocky and Rihanna, saying like, I had Rihanna first, and, you know, ask her if she thinks it's a good idea going at me. Maybe it's all the friend zoning Rihanna did of Drake that has made him this insecure and petty. Maybe it's all the rejection he's faced in general, or all the failed relationships he's had. Knox Hill addresses this in the next bar, rapping,
Got 42 rings like his father, he possessive.
And for those of you who didn't know, that 42 ring thing is not an exaggeration or a joke. Drake literally had a necklace made with 42 different wedding rings for all the 42 different times he thought he was going to propose to a girl but didn't end up doing so. He also has a music video where a rabbi is marrying him to 42 different women. And in this lawsuit, he's talking about Not Like Us being anti-Semitic, but he literally has a music video where he's mocking the core values of the Jewish religion by having an actor rabbi break one of the 10 commandments of adultery by marrying Drake to all these different women. And yes, I know Drake is an actor. I know this is just a music video. It's just comedy, but it's like he doesn't take his religion seriously until he's got to use it to play the victim card in a lawsuit. It's just a joke. But of course, the person who arguably called out Drake's identity crisis the best was Pusha T. So this wouldn't be a Drake diss song if Knox Hill didn't throw out at least one Pusha T reference. So he raps,
My bad, did I push the T? Like father, like son, you've been pushing P's.
and what P's is he talking about here? PDF files? Then we get the best bar of the record where Knox Hill raps,
Talking about your clips, who you sonning when you pushing these? Cause every pick you taking with Adonis, thank Pusha T.
and damn, that's a cool bar. Every pick you taken with Adonis, thank Pusha T. I mean, we really might not know Adonis existed if it wasn't for Pusha T. In his battle with Meek Mill, Drake introduced us to his songwriter. In his battle with Pusha T, he introduced us to his son. And in his battle with Kendrick, he's introducing us to his suits. Lawsuits, that is. Then Knox Hill emphasizes that the only reason he's releasing this diss song is because Drake was suing over diss songs and bringing Reactors into them.
I ain't wanna diss you, but then you went Chernobyl on Reactors, that's the issue.
Then he drops a little Euphoria reference. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough.
We like it when you sing, we don't like the lies you misuse. Include us in your case, then disguise it, that's a move.
Then he goes on to emphasize that everything Drake got is rented. Even his BBL, all the accents he uses, his whole persona, it's all rented. It's all a gimmick. It's all an act.
You rent the style and the gimmicks, BBL to hide your image, you could never buy authentic snitch.
Then the attention gets redirected back onto Akademiks. It sounds like they got some sort of personal issue involving NoLifeShaq potentially. You guys can let me know what I'm missing there in the comments.
And act, I know what's at stake. Use me to call out Shaq, run our sus for Drake. I know you fighting with addiction, see that struggle on your face. But next time you wanna gamble, keep my subs away.
Anyways, then Knox Hill asks the question that the whole world is really wondering.
Just bring it back to rap, why I lost, who gotta move the bars.
Then we get a little Kendrick reference.
Turn his TV off, it's Kendrick at the Super Bowl.
Then we get some more slick wordplay with the bars.
He took control, so you popped out in a super troll.
Because obviously, as we know, this whole thing was really rooted in that control verse from over 10 years ago at this point, right? Kendrick called out the whole rap game by name. Drake didn't respond to it in a full-on diss track, but instead in interviews saying that it hurt his feelings because he saw Kendrick the week after and it was all love. Then there was obviously that subtle competition and sneak disses back and forth for the next decade, all the way up until Kendrick's verse on Like That. And Knox here is basically saying now that Kendrick took quote-unquote control, Drake popped up in a suit patrol. He popped up and filed some lawsuits. And because of that, he's essentially disrespecting the culture that he's supposed to be at this point an OG in. Don't forget, Drake is a year or two away from 40.
Disrespect the culture, you supposed to be an OG for.
Then some more slick wordplay with,
but we both know the future pillow talking on that OV hole.
Because obviously the bar that came before this was, disrespecting the culture you're supposed to be an OG for, but we now know the future. We know what your future looks like when you grow into that OG role. It's filled with people in your circle pillow talking on you, pillow talking on that OV ho. But when he says future, he's not just talking about, the actual future. He's talking about the member of Drake's OV ho camp, Future the Prince. It could also be a callback to Pusha T, who had said that he got the information of Drake having a kid and hiding it from the world from Drake's right-hand producer 40, who was pillow talking with a female who knew Pusha T and gave him that information. So some good double entendres from Knox Hill here with the pillow talking and the future scheme. And finally, Knox ends the song calling Drake a female dog, rapping,
how you gon' access, then turn bitch.
And as for why he used a sample of the song No Scrubs, he explains it as,
some call me a lyrical surgeon with these breakdowns. Had to get the scrubs on and get a scrub going for this.
And you guys want to know the best part of this whole thing is that Knox Hill actually whitelisted this song so that reactors can react to it and still keep their content monetized. And since UMG isn't involved in the release of this song, Drake is going to have to sue Knox Hill directly if he gets offended by any of these bars. And we know that that's the whole angle he's taking, right? Is that he's saving the industry. That's why he's specifically not suing Kendrick for defamation, but instead UMG, because he doesn't want to seem like the bad guy that's directly going at the artist, but instead he's simultaneously killing the essence and the art and the free-flowing creativity that derives from rap battles by attempting to censor them through filing a defamation suit for one of these diss songs being released. Now, I want to know what you guys think. I believe we've gotten about almost 10 diss tracks now between Rick Ross, Kendrick, Knox Hill now, and ScruFace Jean, and Blou. The reaction community really riding with Kendrick on this thing. Who do you guys think has had the best diss track so far? Actually, scratch that. We know it's Kendrick, so remove him from the equation. Aside from Kendrick, who has had the best set of bars aimed at Drake? I think Knox Hill is definitely up there with, did I push the T like father and son? You've been pushing P's. Talking about your clips, who you sunning when you pushing these, because every pick you take with Adonis, thank Pusha T. This was dope. This was dope. I love to see it, and let me know if you guys want an official Rapaholics Drake diss track in the future. Aside from that, more non-Drake content coming your way, because I think we've been spending a little bit too much time on how ridiculous this lawsuit is. Let me know what else you guys want to see other than Drake and Kendrick, and I will catch you in the next one.